everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of HGA Tuesday Tips. I am Julie.
I'm Wendy.
And,
I'm Shonda.
and today we are meeting with Jesse VanWagoner with New American Funding. So welcome, Jesse.
Thank you. Pleasure being here.
Yeah, so it's just wonderful that you are here. Kind of a little backstory. Jesse and I met through Cheryl Knowlton doing some Zoom designation classes, and we've kind of built a little fun friendship here. So I just think it's great that you're willing to drive all the way up to Eaton to shoot some video with us. And
it's a beautiful area.
Yeah, it is. Well, thank
happy
you.
to drive an hour and a half to get to a beautiful area.
We're going to take you to lunch. Yeah. So one of the questions I have for you today: what trends are you seeing in the market?
Yeah. So really, right now, what we're seeing a lot of is the market is starting to improve. Right. It's been 2.5, almost 3 years of high interest rates. And as we're starting to see the federal government talking about dropping the Fed Treasury rate, with inflation slowing down and a lot of economic reports coming in that are favorable for mortgage rates, we're starting to see that happen. So we're starting to see rates drop from where at the peak, we saw rates over 8, then they hit 7, and now we're looking really into the mid to lower 6% rates and even into the 5s. So it's what everybody's been waiting for, but it's also a little bit of a double-edged sword. Mm-hmm. So as rates drop, we know what will also happen with supply and demand, and values of homes are going to go up.
Yes. So if you're going to buy a home, it's probably a good time to buy.
It's a great time to look, right? And I think one of the biggest things that we always have to remember is that just because you get into it, you start talking to you guys as real estate agents, you start talking to a lender, it doesn't mean you have to jump off and buy a house right this second, right? It can take 3, 6, 9, 12 months. I've had some clients take 3 years to get into a position to be ready to buy. And if it's not now, when will it be? And you don't want to miss that opportunity, because as rates come down, values are going to go up. And when that happens, it's going to become more and more difficult to be able to afford. As much as people think rates are going to drop and now I'm going to be able to afford this home, but if you have to spend $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 more for the same property, it's actually going to be more expensive.
Correct. Yeah. So it's always nice to, when you have a buyer that reaches out to the lender, gets the boat in motion, right? We're going to get everything going here, and then we know where we need to be. And then when you see that property, we can definitely jump on it.
Yeah. And I think so often there are a lot of people own homes right now. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't, and those are commonly first-time home buyers that really think this is too scary. I don't even know where to start. And oftentimes, one of the biggest things that when I get the opportunity to speak to new clients and first-time home buyers is we don't even know what questions to ask, right? So the way that we do our business is no pressure. We keep everybody straightforward. We know exactly what they need to accomplish. We guide them and educate them. Education is a huge piece, and we want to make sure that they have all the knowledge and the information that they need so that they can make an educated decision going forward.
That's awesome.
Wonderful. So we've talked about trends, but what do you guys see as far as predictions when you talk about rates and they've come down a little bit? And
yeah,
we're not going to hold you to it, but
well, no one has a crystal ball, and it's the forewarning for everything.
We all wish, right?
Yeah, and we came out of Christmas and into New Year's of 2022 instantly. We came out of the COVID years. We saw interest rates going up, right? We saw interest rates in the 2% range, then 3, then 4, then 5, and by June of 2022, we started seeing rates hit the 5s and the 6s. And so we've been waiting for a very, very long time. So fortunately, in my opinion, the government's held this the way that they have for a long enough time to where they now are obviously speaking about dropping rates. The Feds actually meet on September 17th and 18th, and there's a very, very high likelihood that they're going to drop the short-term Fed Treasury rate 0.5%, maybe 0.25%, but ultimately the biggest thing is they haven't done this for a long time. So years. So as that starts and finally tips over and they start dropping the rates, that's when we're going to start seeing really the improvement in mortgage rates, right? Just because the Feds drop rates doesn't necessarily mean that's exactly what's going to happen with rates on mortgages, but they're very much so correlated, right? If you're watching anything, you want to know what rates do, watch the 10-year Treasury. The 10-year Treasury goes up, rates are going to go up. 10-year Treasury goes down, rates are going to go down. So that's the big thing that we are waiting for. As long as the federal government does drop the rates at the pace that they're expecting to, and that everyone is going to start hedging in for, then we're going to start seeing that rally and that improvement, right? And as that continues to improve, then obviously rates are going to go down. But remember, as we discussed, with rates going down, values are going to go up. Mm-hmm. And a few other things happen. It's not just values go up, the competition happens, right? If anybody was looking at purchasing a home during COVID, you had to pay 10, 20, 30, 40,000. I've known of a specific scenario where someone paid $1 million over appraised value. So if that happens, there's no longer going to be seller concessions to cover closing costs.
That's right.
There's no longer a temporary buy down where you can take a 1, 2, or even a 3% reduction in interest rate the first year. So all these opportunities go away, or being able to negotiate the sales price. I don't want to pay $400, I want to pay $390, right? That's not going to happen when you have more buyers than sellers. And we have a shortage in Utah. Whether it's in this valley, in Weber and Davis Valley, Salt Lake, Utah, it's the same throughout. So you need to take action, in my opinion, if it's something that you want to look at. But that's what we're here for, is to lead you and guide you and walk through the process, make sure that you understand what your options are without feeling the pressure, because knowledge is power. Knowledge gives you the confidence to make an educated decision going forward.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You kind of already answered my next question, where are we headed versus where we've been. You've answered that question, but regarding home prices, where we are now, and the stats, like the average median price for a home now, where's it going to be in 10 years?
Yeah.
And
we have the Olympics coming.
We have the Olympics coming.
2034 is a big year, right? It's a huge thing.
Look what happened in 2002. 2004, it was a boom up here. And I mean, it was up here in Eden. I was in excavation at the time, and we were building hundreds of homes, subdivisions, and it was a boom, and it was just go, 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 go. It's going to happen again. The secret's out.
And you have resorts all around you.
Right.
Yeah, everyone wants to
out.
be.
Yeah.
I can see this valley growing substantially. In Salt Lake County, as an example, there have been a lot of statistics and studies that have been completed, and they are anticipating that the average starter home, or the average home, I should say, in Salt Lake County is going to push $1 million within the next decade. So the average home right now is over 600, or right in that range, right? So it's going to continue to go up. Who knows what happens? For me personally, I find it as a little bit of a concern that, will my children be able to live here? Right? If I don't take action and potentially start buying some investment properties and pushing into some other real estate, and carrying that for the next 5-10 years until my children are in college or wanting to do something, there's going to be a limit on who can actually purchase a home, right? Incomes are not driving at the same pace. There's a lot of economy and tech and kind of the Silicon Slopes in northern Utah County that's driving a lot of income in, and a lot of people from out of state that have a lot of equity that also love low taxes, which we have in Utah versus California and other states. So
well, that's great. So thank you for joining us today, but come back and join us again on our next HGA Tuesday Tips, because we're going to talk about investing on properties with Jesse. So take care. We'll see you soon.